This is part 138 of ASP.NET tutorial. In this video, we'll discuss adding images to slideshow using a database table. Please watch part 137 before proceeding. In part 137, we discussed loading image data from an XML file. So this is the XML file that we used in part 137 to store image data. Notice that we are storing the name of the image and the order in which we want that image to be displayed within the slideshow. So now we want to store this image data in a database table. So the first step is to obviously create a table to store the name and the order. So here we are creating this table TBL images, and it's got three columns: ID, which is going to be the primary key of the table, and then name and order columns. Okay, so let's go ahead and create this table. And then this insert script right here is going to insert data into TBL images table. So the name of the image and the order in which we want that image to be displayed in the slideshow. So let's go ahead and execute this insert script. I'll have this SQL script available on my blog in case you need it. And the next step is to basically create a stored procedure to retrieve this image data from the table TBL images. So let's go ahead and create a procedure. So create procedure SP, and let's call this get image data as we need the name and order columns. So select name and order. Now here order is a SQL Server reserved keyword, but we want to use it as a column name, so we have to wrap it inside square brackets from TBL images. Okay, so this is going to be our stored procedure. Let's execute that. The stored procedure is created. Now let's execute the stored procedure itself, and we get the data. Okay, so we have the image data stored in the database table, so we can safely delete this image data.xml. So let's get rid of that XML file. We can get rid of the folder altogether as well, because we don't have any other files there, so I'm going to delete that away. Okay, the next step is to actually load that image data from the table. So obviously we have to write bit of ADO.NET code. So if we have to communicate with the SQL Server, we need a connection string. So let's go ahead and add connection string to our web.config file. And the connection string, obviously we need to specify the name of the server, what type of security you want to use, whether you want to use Windows authentication or a SQL Server username and password. Here I am using Windows authentication, and the database name is sample. Okay, the name of the connection string is dbcs. Okay, so let's add this connection string to our web.config file. And to speed things up, I have this connection string already typed, so let me copy that and add it to our web.config file. So within connection string section, I'm going to paste it there. Alright, so the next step is to write the ADO.NET code, and let's go ahead and import the required ADO.NET namespaces. We already have system.data. We need system.data.SQL client, and then system.configuration. Okay, and all we need to do here is change this set image URL function. Now if you look at the set image URL function, at the moment we are reading the image data from the XML file. At the moment we don't have an XML file there. Instead we want to read image data from the database table. So let's go ahead and write ADO.NET code. Let's get rid of that line there, and then first of all let's create a SQL connection object. To create a SQL connection object, we need a connection string. So let's read the connection string information from web.config file. So we can use configuration manager class. So configuration manager.connection strings of what is the name of our connection string? It's dbcs. So let's copy that. So get the connection string value into this variable, and then we are going to pass this to the constructor of the SQL connection class. So using this connection string, create a SQL connection object, and the next step is to create our SQL data adapter object. And then there is a constructor which takes the command text, the select command text, and the connection object. So our select command is actually a stored procedure. So let's go ahead and pass the name of the stored procedure. So we are going to use this overloaded version, which takes the select command text and the SQL connection object. So let's pass the name of the stored procedure, and we already have the connection object. Okay, so we have the data adapter right now. But then the other important thing that we have to tell to the SQL data adapter object is that this is not, an inline SQL statement. Instead, it is a stored procedure. So we have to tell that to the data adapter object. And to do that, it's a select command. So data adapter dot select command dot command type. Okay, so what's the command type? It's a stored procedure. And then da.fill data set object. So this method is going to open the connection, execute the stored procedure, retrieve the data, and fill this data set with the data. Okay, so by this point we have data within the data set, and notice the name of the table here, it's TBL images. But then in the code here we are referring to the table as image. So let's give the table name here. So when we are filling this data set with that data from TBL images table, within the data set I want to refer that table as image table. Okay, alright, with all these changes, let's go ahead and run this. Look at this. At the moment this application is running using the XML file. It has stopped because we don't have the XML file. So let's actually run this now. Now it has to load the image data from the database table. Look at that, it's loading the data from the database table. 6, 7, 8, 9. We have total 9 images there. Okay, now if you want to add a 10th image to the slideshow, all you have to do is copy that image into the images folder and then add a row to the database table. So at the moment, if you look at this table, there are 9 rows at the moment. So if I want to add a 10th image, the order should be 10, and then specify the name of the image there. And obviously you need to have that image within this images folder. Alright. On this slide you can find resources for ASP.NET, C# and SQL Server interview questions. That's it for today. Thank you for listening. Have a great day.